Competitive Pokemon has seen many teams come and go during the Scarlet and Violet era. It is not uncommon for a team to see one use in a tournament before fading away into obscurity, never to be seen again. However, sometimes there are teams that are so strong that they not only win the game that they debut in, but they continue to dominate even after. One such team continues to strike fear into the hearts of players even to this day. This team, of course, being Blymax's brilliant Bifrost team. The Bifrost team consists of Galarian Slowking, Cinderace, Kyurem, Ting-Lu, Dondozo, and Corviknight. And while none of these Pokemon are particularly uncommon, this team has plenty of surprises in store for any opponent with the misfortune to run into the squad. For example, the defensive cornerstone of this team, the Ting-Lu. Ting-Lu is a very defensive Pokemon known for throwing up hazards such as Stealth Rock and Spikes, and it also might slot in Ruination and Whirlwind to further disrupt the opponent. Ting-Lu's high base defense as well as its Vessel of Ruin ability makes it a Pokemon that can almost never be one-shot with an unboosted attack on both sides of the physical and special spectrum, which only assists its hazard stacking and disruption abilities. However, Ting-Lu is unable to recover any of its HP outside of leftovers, which means it can often be worn down over the course of a game, despite its phenomenal defensive properties. Blymax, however, ditches the conventional uses of Ting-Lu and opts for a Ting-Lu that doesn't set up hazards or disrupt the opponent, but instead is unkillable with Rest and Sleep Talk. This combined with Payback and Earthquake makes Ting-Lu a Pokemon that can switch into something like Dragon Ball, take a burn from Will-O-Wisp, and then hit Pult with a Payback dealing massive damage and then rest everything off. This Pokemon alone can win some games simply by resting away any damage it receives and continuing to wall the opponent. To complement the Ting-Lu, there is also a specially defensive Dondozo on this team. While Dondozo may have a low special defense stat, its immense HP stat makes up for that, making it able to tank quite a few special hits if you fully invest into special defense. Like Ting-Lu, Dondozo has both Rest and Sleep Talk, so it can similarly recover any damage it takes, effectively setting back your opponent's progress. This Dondozo also carries Curse, allowing it to boost up its defenses on physical attackers so it can effectively wall them forever even if they have their own boosting moves because of Dondozo's Unaware ability, which makes it ignore stat boosts. This Dondozo in conjunction with Ting-Lu gives the Blymax team a very strong defensive core, and both of these Pokemon can win games on their own. These two aren't the only defensive pieces on the team though. They are supported by an Iron Defense Body Press Corviknight that also carries Defog and Roost. This Corviknight further supports the team by removing entry hazards and shading favorably into Pokemon like Zamazenta and the now banned Roaring Moon. Corviknight acts as a sturdy bulwark that further increases the defensive prowess of the team. The final true defensive Pokemon of this team is Galarian Slowking. This Slowking invests heavily into physical defense and has a moveset of Chilly Reception, Future Sight, Sludge Bomb, and finally Ice Beam. This Slowking lures in ground types like Landorus Therian and Great Tusk before obliterating them with Ice Beam. Though it may have a weakness to ground type moves, Slowking carries the Shuka Berry as its item, making it take half damage from an otherwise super effective ground type attack. This enables it to use Ice Beam on Landorus or Great Tusk after it's used its Headlong Rush and crush it. Chilly Reception not only acts as a very welcome pivot move for the team, it also enables the strongest attack on the team, which is used by Big Bad Kyurem, the Ice Dragon type that acts as the offensive cornerstone of the team. This Pokemon carries the choice specs with a moveset of Earth Power and 3 Ice moves, being Ice Beam, Freeze Dry, and Blizzard, which can further be boosted by Terra Ice. Of course, 3 Ice-type moves may seem a bit redundant, but each one serves their purpose. Ice Beam is a good neutral move to go for, Freeze Dry hits water types, and Blizzard's damage is unmatched and always deals serious damage even to resist. This moveset is rounded out with Earth Power to punish any Steel types that want to come in on Kyurem. Kyurem acts as a bulldozer that tears down any walls in front of it to help to advance the game state. The final member of the team, Cinderace, is also used in a way that you might not expect. Though Cinderace has a high attack stat and an ability like Libero to further bolster its offensive prowess, Blymax's Cinderace actually invests very little into attack and opts for Blaze instead of Libero. This Cinderace invests heavily into the HP stat, making it very bulky for its speed tier, and the Cinderace carries Fireball to do damage, Will-O-Wisp to carry physical attackers, U-turn to pivot around, Court Change to get hazards off your side of the field, and onto the opponents, even if your opponent has a Pokemon like Gholdengo on the field. This Cinderace isn't specifically built for offense, but it can still be a very threatening late game threat with Terrafire Pyro Balls that can further be boosted by plays if your health has been dropped low enough. This enables Cinderace to sweep late game after the opponent's team has been weakened. The Blymax Bifrost team is immensely potent with a very strong defensive core backed up by the offensive powers of Kyurem. The team can effectively run over many opposing teams just because of one or two Pokemon on the Blymax side of things. Some teams get shredded by Kyurem, and others just cannot break through Ting-Lu or Dondozo. It can be an incredibly scary team to face, but it is not without flaw. The Blymax team has some weaknesses. Ogerpon Wellspring can be incredibly threatening to this team with its Ivy Cudgel Grass Stab combination, able to do immense damage to a lot of the team members. It often requires you to sacrifice most of Cinderace's health to get a Will-O-Wisp off, or make some really good predictions so that it doesn't just Ivy Cudgel through your team. Even Corviknight with Iron Defenses up can be crit through if the opponent is lucky enough. Terra can help with this though. Another Pokemon that is incredibly threatening is Darkrai with Nasty Plot. Though Ting-Lu and Dondozo are good answers to Darkrai normally, if it is set up a Nasty Plot, it can do massive damage to Ting-Lu with Ice Beam and force it to rest. This is a problem though, because though it gets its health back from rest, it can still take a lot of damage from Darkrai's Bad Dreams ability. And the same goes for Dondozo, so it can create some incredibly tricky positions for the team. Cursed Garganacl can be also very troubling for this team, as boosted Salt Curves eventually become dangerously powerful, and Dondozo can't be sent in as it takes 25% per turn from Salt Cure. The other guards aren't as troubling though. Opposing Kyurems can also be very scary for this team, but then again, what team isn't afraid of Kyurem? This team, though it has immense hazard removal with Cinderace and Corviknight, doesn't have a way to set up its own hazards. So the opponent doesn't set up Stealth Rocks for you, you can't Court Change them away, so it can feel bad to not punish opponents for switching around. Though this team does have its weaknesses, it is still incredibly powerful and not to be underestimated, and is sure to be a threat to anybody playing on the ladder even after all this time. It's often called the greatest team of the generation because of its strengths and easy matchup wins, and I do have to concur at least somewhat. This team is incredibly potent, and there might not be a team as iconic and powerful as this one for a very long time. It has many powerful options as well as sometimes impenetrable defensive options, so there really may not be a team that can top this one. But I'll pass the question to you. Do you think there's a team that's better than this? Let me know in the comments below. Personally, I don't think there's a single team that can even contest with the Blymax team, the GOAT of the generation.